102, 103. There you go.
Thank you very much. And there you go.
Just stop oil.
What did that guy just say to me?
I think he said,
Just stop oil.
stop oil.
Okay, but what's that have to do with the cell phone? This is a cell phone plan.
Oh, it doesn't have to do, but he's one of the pre-approved Democrat organizations, so we take your money and give it to him. We're big wireless, it's what we do. Stop giving all of your money to the big wireless networks who hate you. Get Pure Talk. Great phones, great coverage, and a much lower bill. Best of all, Pure Talk has American-based customer service, so you can get someone on the phone when you need it, and they won't give your money to the leftist mob who hates you against your will. Get a $0 iPhone or Samsung Galaxy when you sign up. Go to puretalk.com/Crowder today. All right, I can't be sipping that long today because today we are picking a fight. That's what today is. We are picking a fight, and Rumble, and by the way, Donald Trump's company, is officially suing. Is it the government, entire government, or the judge in Brazil?
Might as well be both.
Yeah, pretty much the entire government of Brazil. This is a big tech suit. This is unprecedented. This will set the tone going forward for Google, for Apple, for YouTube, what they want to do. Play by the rules of foreign invaders, ideological invaders, or the American Constitution. We're going to pick a fight with John Oliver because he is a coward and big tech is doing his bidding. We're going to poke our finger in the chests of pedophiles today, too. So today is about a fight. Today is about not being complacent. We told you that the left was going to be more subversive. We're going to get into the lawfare that's taking place against President Trump right now. Spoiler alert, this is entirely precedented, it's entirely normal, and he is well within his constitutional authority to do what he's doing. These rogue judges aren't. And I'm getting really tired of other countries and governments telling us how we should do our job. And yeah, you know what? Everyone out there in Brazil right now, Allan Santos, Paulo Figueiredo will be on the show. They need your support. This is a political persecution that is taking place. And if you know how lawless Brazil is, people turn up dead. So we're going to get to that and more. If at some point today, and I guarantee you will, see this on YouTube, head on over to Rumble and watch there live. Weekdays, 10 a.m. Eastern. And you know what? Here's a question, because Chris Pavlovsky over there, the CEO of Rumble, brass, pendulous pair of balls. He's the only man who has stood in the pocket for free speech with an entire platform never folded. Unlike even, by the way, X, because X folded to Brazil, like some of what they're doing, but they did fold and censor content. What's your favorite thing about Rumble? What's your favorite improvement here in the last year? You wanted an alternative, you have it, and you know what? We'll go to bat for people on our team. We will bleed for our team. We're happy to do it today, even though this will likely be removed from YouTube. Cat and Morgan CEO, I saw them give you a note there.
Oh, I guess we're only suing Moraes.
Moraes.
I didn't see all the letters.
Let me be really clear, okay? Today, Rumble and the parent company of Truth Social, Donald Trump's company, is suing in Brazil.
Dump that.
Yeah, you can dump that. I'm sorry. Look, Moraes, what am I implying? I'm implying that you suck. Okay, that's what I'm saying about you right now.
Yes, well.
So come over here stateside and tell us what we can and can't say. I know you'll try and work through the legal system, engage in lawfare. No, let's hash this out. The problem is not just Moraes.
Yeah.
It's people in American government who are willing to do the bidding of a totalitarian communist regime, effectively.
Yes.
All right. Sorry. I'm worked up.
You should be.
In third chair, you know him, you love him. Funniest man alive. You can go and see him at the Bricktown Comedy Club in Tulsa, Thursday, February 20th, or the Funny Bone, St. Louis on the 21st. Mr. Nick Dipp, how are you, sir?
That's this week.
It's this week.
I can't believe it.
Oh,
yes.
So this
Thursday and Friday. See you there, kids. What was the question? How am I? Oh, tremendous.
Good.
Healed with AIDS.
Got your. Well, you know who likely is? It's actually this first segment. So 2 weeks ago, we introduced you to the predator poachers of Long Island, and their first catch and the funniest ever pedophile sting that I've seen in my life, this man involved, was named Amir.
She said she was 13.
Okay, appreciate it. By the way, I'm sorry, I'm Douglas.
Amir. I wanted to knock some sense into this.
Yeah, no, that's good that you...
But because I'm a father. I'm like, you know what, let me just give in a way so that she thinks I'm meeting her.
Yeah.
And then I could...
Well, you are meeting her.
Yeah, I know.
Kind of seems like you wanted to go through with it.
I didn't. I really didn't, honestly. Like, that's why when I said the
but
first
you are
meet,
here, too,
I'm
you know?
here.
Yeah.
That is true.
It's like, want to see my penis, you know, and it's not yours, but, you know, it's a penis.
I don't even want to deal with a minor, you know?
No, of course, but, like, you know, you are here in an effort to, you know, deal with a minor.
And happy ending, Amir was arrested in Long Island. My favorite part of that was he's like, I was just going to tell her, like, to stay in school.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Rocky.
Yeah,
quit smoking.
Yeah, quit smoking. Don't play with blasting caps. You know, good stuff. Right? They still got blasting caps. They haven't had those for
And the
several
girl goes,
decades.
screw you, creepo.
Screw you, creepo. So anyway, that was, and of course, that wasn't exclusive to Mud Club. They're doing God's work. And we actually have an update. Amir.
It was a mere mistake, he said.
How is it possible to have an update? Amir is, no, he's back of his own volition, okay, because he wanted to clear the air, which is kind of tough to do when you're a pedophile, but he gives it the old college try, which brings us to our first, Mud Club exclusive Talking with Pedophiles.
Talking with pedophiles.
You're going to roll it.
I told my wife I have to be at the precinct to get fingerprinted.
Okay.
Should we go there or stay here?
To the precinct?
Yeah, not inside, just like outside. One of the people that knew my boss saw it on either that live show,
YouTube or Twitter?
No, somewhere on the live show, because my job, I lost it. So they took my phone at the precinct. I don't know if it's here or if it's in district court. Yeah. But I got court on Tuesday.
Okay.
My daughter's 10.
Right.
What is she going to do at 13? I'm 37. Why are you okay with that?
She's not at capacity to consent, and you know that.
Well, no, that's true. The problem is that it's making me a monster in society that I never am or never wanted to be. I could even donate to your cause.
You don't have to. I am some punk from Long Island.
You are. You said you are.
That's who I am.
Because the ultimate judge is God.
Exactly.
So I don't care.
You took the words out of my mouth.
And I made a mistake talking to you. I should have just stayed in the car waiting for the cops.
It sounds like you're just upset that you got caught.
No, I'm not.
And not like remorseful for anything you did.
I'm remorseful.
You don't seem it. You're not sorry for this kid. You're not sorry.
I'm sorry for the kid. Man, I'm not the type of guy that's going to go fuck someone's daughter, bro.
You arrived.
Listen, man, I arrived. You going to put this on internet or something?
No, we don't have to.
You sure?
Yeah, we don't have to. I mean,
all right.
we might. I think, wouldn't you want this to be on the internet to kind of clear your name?
Yeah, a little bit. And it was funny because the guy, Crowder, was like, I urinated myself. And I'm like, I can't believe. You know what it is? Because I'm a simple person. The internet's full of garbage, you know? Like,
sure, but why do you have to be the garbage? Why not be a beacon of good?
Yeah, it's an honest mistake.
You guys are talking for like over a month and a half.
I understand. Really? It's been that long?
That's a pretty long and ongoing honest mistake.
Like,
but then why were you so comfortable asking for that? And like, I'm not saying...
I wasn't comfortable,
I'm not saying like you were like, oh, thank God. Like, I'm not saying that, but I
wasn't comfortable with it.
But you asked her so many times.
How many times?
More than one, which is more than enough. Yeah, correct.
When my daughter takes a shower, I don't even use the bathroom.
I would hope not.
No, I wait to use the bathroom after.
Jesus.
There's only one bathroom.
That's good that you wait.
No, I already called the Rockville Center Police. I was like, if the person retracts their press charges or whatever, like you press charges, obviously.
Are you asking me to retract?
No.
Phone call?
No.
I didn't press the charges. The police did. From the bottom of my heart, I am sorry that your family is going through this.
And I'm not the type of person to try to make my family suffer, you know? I emailed you because I got to straighten this out. I don't use that application for that purpose. I never did.
Why on earth should I believe the very first time you decided I'm going to talk to a minor, I'm going to ask her for nude pictures, I'm going to send her porn, like fake penis pictures, why should I believe this is the first time this has happened? Like, and amazingly, because I'm on the other side.
Because I'm really telling you the truth. I don't have child porn on that either.
I'll take your word for it.
I could be part of if you believe me. You know, be part of your
cause.
I
mean, like, we'll see how everything's going.
Well, I don't know if I'm going to go to jail. I don't know.
I don't know either. You say things like, oh, I was trying to tell her to stay in school. I was trying to tell her to, like, do this, do that. Like,
it wasn't really in the chat.
We hear that all the
I can't believe it. I never
Every single one of them says that because they're trying to get out of trouble.
You can't even testify. They come in and testify and say, listen.
I won't do that.
Oh, you won't? Okay.
No, I won't.
You probably still don't believe me.
I mean, just the fact that, like, you asked this kid for nudes.
Yeah. No, I did. I'm not saying I didn't.
That's great, but I'm telling you, it's like, it doesn't sit well with me.
I hear you. And I'm not crying to make you feel sorry for me. I'm just saying, like, I got caught up in a up situation I should have never even approached.
Yeah, good luck. And happy birthday to your wife.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. All right, man.
Happy Valentine's.
Thank you as well.
Talking with pedophiles.
Allegedly.
Alleged pedophile.
Allegedly, he did say right there they asked for
mean,
nudes and sent pornography to an
and
underage
he
person
tried to
and met
meet up
with her.
Who's that guy? Who's that interview?
Oh, he's great. Well, Douglas was.
Douglas.
He's the best. He's the best that I've ever seen because you take confronting them and add someone who's funny.
Oh my God! It's a perfect storm.
It's the perfect. I don't have to put it on the internet. I mean, we might. He's like, Jesus. I guess it's so nice of you to wait your turn while his daughter's in the bathroom.
I know. That was the selling point for me. You know, and I take a dump, I wait till she got it.
It's just.
She gave me a dirty Sanchez once.
Yes,
Listen, that's
I cut a hole in the wall, but I don't use it.
Make sure she's safe.
Yeah, it's just, and just so you know, you see this and it's easy to detach yourself from it. The excuse, this man is never to blame. It's, I didn't mean to. Whenever you hear somebody say, well, I didn't mean to, if you are talking about the action, if you are talking about the effect, and they are only talking about the intent, careful, because that person is likely to project and label you a narcissist. That's what often happens, right? They try and throw it onto you, like, well, I didn't mean to. Why are you so self-absorbed? Well, hold on a second. You did send nudes. You did ask for nudes repeatedly. I didn't mean to, I didn't mean to do anything inappropriate. Was just going to tell her to drink her milk.
It was an accident.
It was an accident. A month
I
and a
hit the
half
button
long-
and the email went over there.
I fell onto my keyboard 6,482 times.
Yeah.
With vowels and consonants. You know how it goes. I don't at all.
You're like, sir, you have a sneeze guard on your computer screen.
Yeah, I was playing the Golden Corral game, Virtual reality.
You got a windshield wiper on your computer.
I got caught up in something.
And I love how this is so urgent, but he still can't help himself from going on his phone.
I know.
So, let me see a talking cat. You see this shit?
I love how he's talking about it. He's like, I should have just got in the car. I'm like, you should probably also get in the car now.
Yes, you should leave now.
You're making it worse.
The guy convicted himself.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, you just show that to the jury or the judge, and you're like, okay.
This guy will never be... they say that he who represents himself, I've heard this, has a fool for a client, but there's bullshit.
I'm no fool. Look, I'm a Detroit Lions fan.
That's right. That's right.
He's representing the Lions with that hat.
I look like my 600-pound Russell Peters life. Anyway, I just want to lead it with a laugh. And today is all about, like I said, it's all about picking we can't do this without you. You are the reason that we are able to pick this fight. Yesterday, we debunked John Oliver's incoherent ramblings about Donald Trump 2.0. And some of it was incoherent and some of it was deliberately deceitful. There have been some developments, which brings us to our newest segment.
I am a pussy, and that is frankly a wild thing to say. I'm telling you, I am a pussy. Oh, sorry if this is how you found out, but I'm telling you that I am a pussy. God.
Little Tom Jones.
Yeah. You want to dance, Johnny? Let's dance. So yesterday in real time when we debunked, of course, recognizing very much fair use, we told you in real time exactly what would happen to that segment because we know Johnny Oliver. John Oliver is always wrong. I expect this show to be completely removed because every time we critique John Oliver, his talent agency directly claims that it's a copyright violation and gets it removed. I'm willing to bet it's because of the many, many millions of plays critiquing him. I bet you probably think you know where this is going, but allow me to present The Prestige. The clip was immediately banned before it even went live. And this has greater ramifications for everyone on YouTube and on social media. You know, it used to be called new media. This was seen as, you know, this new frontier. It's not anymore. This is media. And you have people, these dinosaurs, these legacy dinosaurs, who want to abuse it and ensure that you can't actually have your say. That's the reason that Rumble exists. YouTube is dead. YouTube is not what YouTube once was. The claim was made on behalf of Oliver's talent agency, Avalon, and Last Week Tonight. This was manual. They did it. This wasn't just automatic.
I thought you misspoke, but it actually was taken down before it went live.
Yeah.
How is that even possible?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they have us set as an alert.
Same.
We appealed the decision, just to give you an idea, under this fair use principle. It's a law principle, and we've done this in the past. The appeals have been denied.
Yeah.
Let me be clear with you in sort of outlining what fair use is. It couldn't be more clear in this instance, and if this doesn't apply as fair use, everyone out there is at risk. If you rebut anything, it can be removed. If you have an opinion that someone doesn't like and you show a clip, hey, do you know who violates fair use? John Oliver, by showing clips on a regular basis to lampoon them or rebut them. Now, of course, he's never actually debated anyone in person or showed up with anyone who was a less than friendly audience, which I would argue is, you know, cowardice. But he's a Brit.
Cocksucker.
So according to YouTube's standards, which are supposed to be based on law, and by the way, the same applies for journalism. Single-party consent means that the other person doesn't need to know that they're being filmed or recorded. You know, how you expose corruption. YouTube doesn't apply the law in that instance either, but hey, they get the benefit of Section 230 so long as they follow the law. So this is how YouTube defines fair use. Purpose and character, it says courts typically focus on whether the use of copyright-protected material is transformative. That means, are you just rebroadcasting something? Are you pirating it? Or are you changing that content? Like a parody, or like a point-by-point myth, fact, claim, truth, rebuttal. It's transformative. The nature of the copyrighted work is another category they have. It says using material from primarily factual works is more likely to be fair use than using purely fictional works. Maybe that's John Oliver's defense, that he is not a primarily factual entity, show, creator. I don't know. It's the only wiggle room I can see with them arguing against this being fair use. If John Oliver wants to go out on that shield and say, well, you can't take what I say seriously, I'm full of shit. Fine.
Listen to that argument.
Maybe he's arguing that his works are completely, just purely fictional. I don't know. And then the third sort of litmus test is the amount or the length of the copyrighted work being used. So borrowing small bits, according to YouTube, of material from an original work is more likely to be considered fair use than borrowing large portions. So we rebutted John Oliver, therefore it was transformative. It is supposed to be a primarily fact-based work. Okay, so we should be covered there. And then as long as you're using shorter clips and addressing them due to their newsworthiness or factual basis or disagree. All three categories. It couldn't be more clear. This is an attack on freedom of speech on YouTube. And I know some libertarians out there say, oh, you can go create your own YouTube. Well, we have. There's Rumble. But this is about selective application of the rules and the law. The final category is effect on market value. Uses that harm the copyright holder's ability to profit from their original work are less likely to be fair uses. This didn't harm John Oliver's ability to profit whatsoever. If anything, it would drive more traffic to his content.
More numbers, more eyeballs.
Yep. So does our video fit those standards? Well, here's the thing. Right now it's been removed from YouTube, so you can't watch it. I know, it's like a figment of your imagination. So actually go on over to the Rumble homepage. It's featured. And check the video out to see for yourself. Featured right there on the homepage. Thanks, Rumble. Link in the description.
It's got to piss him off.
There didn't used to be a Rumble.
Yeah.
This is the problem with being at the feet of YouTube. Guys, you got to start migrating. Also, how many new stars has YouTube allowed to grow in the last 3-4 years? It's really, really hard.
Yeah.
They've pulled the ladder up. They want the John Olivers, the Seth Meyers of the world. They don't want you. In retaliation, by the way, to yesterday's show, in a rare instance of showing up for the fight, John Oliver posted his own, arguably not fair use, watch and react.
Play it from the beginning.
You may think that is waste. It's all waste. Look, you may think that it's not run efficiently. Yeah, but we know that, but you've never conducted any actual audits. This is the first time it's happened in our life, and that's why it's a big deal. That's why you're so mad. You understand that, right? You may think there's waste. We've been saying it for decades. You may think that money is perhaps being laundered. We've been saying it for decades. Hey, let me ask you this. You ever look into Burisma? You ever talk about it? What about the Hunter Biden laptop? What about the 70,000 new IRS employees? What about the IRS targeting of conservatives? But you ever look into any of it? They always try to like, oh, we can have a respectful disagreement. Only you never have. You called us Nazis then, and you imply that we're Nazis now. You can go yourself back to the UK.
I feel worse for the alleged pedophile. At least he showed up. So this is where we are.
Love it.
John Oliver is a huge, absolute and Google is doing the bidding of these giant networks. And by the way, these giant networks don't care about you. Remember HBO? Westworld, first season was a great show. You're now a subscriber to Max? They don't have it. They don't have it. I went to HBO to go, now called Max, to try and watch Westworld. It's not there, but I have Chris Wallace. Are you screwing with me?
HBO's been at the center of the cancer for years.
It really has.
It is the worst of the fucking worst. I worked there.
Yeah,
I worked for a good guy, Chris Rock, but I saw and I met the fucking faces of evil.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
But I took their money.
Yes, of course you took their money back. Then you take the money to use it against them, and by that I mean get another boat.
No, I had a crack habit. Listen.
At least it would be nice if John Oliver had a crack. At least he'd be.
Oh, I hope he dies soon.
He's.
I really do. I hope there's an accident.
You know what? I think unlike
I hope
Trevor
his
Noah,
kids are in the front seat.
Unlike Colbert.
Shut up, you pussies.
Unlike Colbert, I think John Oliver can be funny. But you know what? Say what you want about Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart did absolutely own Bill O'Reilly on his own show. He would show up. He did it with Tucker Carlson and Begala on Crossfire. He had the balls to show up and to argue.
And he was nice about it.
Yeah.
I never had a problem with Stu. Of course, politically, yeah.
Sure.
But I told you, when he had shows before he had the Daily Show on Comedy Central, he would call me first.
Yeah.
He threw me on a couple times. And then he mentioned me and Colin Quinn when he signed off on the Daily Show.
Yeah.
He said, I look forward to going back to stand up. And
Yeah.
And I always liked him. He was always polite, even if we beefed or whatever.
Sure. Yeah, and at least he would show up. John Oliver has never
he's
showed
a bitch.
up.
He's a limey, dirty limey.
Yes, he is. And YouTube is doing the bidding of talentless, I don't want to say talentless, mediocre talent, backboneless, spineless, feckless pussies who aren't even from this country. YouTube, how about you start following the laws of the country that has allowed you to create a company in the first place? This is threatening the entire ecosystem, and we've seen this for a long time. The entire platform of YouTube, though it's pretty much dead. Rumble is the future, and we're able to do these kinds of segments. John Oliver, anytime. We welcome you, and of course we'll be polite. We'll match intensity. I would love to have a conversation with you. And not just about political disagreements. Maybe you don't know that your talent agency is doing this. Maybe you don't know what's going on social media. I know you've advocated for censorship of speech, but you know what? I'm willing to hear you out. And I know that everyone in the conservative movement is willing to hear you out. You'd be surprised as to how polite the audience is, but the difference is they actually show up. They actually stand behind their convictions. There's a reason that Rumble is the future. There's a reason that YouTube is dead. And it's just crystallized by the fact that John Oliver is a spineless pussy.
I am a pussy, and that is frankly a wild thing to say. I'm telling you, I am a pussy. Oh, sorry if this is how you found out, but I'm telling you that I am a pussy. God.
By the way, still one of the greatest voices ever, Tom Jones.
Are you shitting me? I'd sleep with a guy today. I'd throw my own underwear up there.
My parents went and saw him a couple years ago, and old ladies were still throwing their bras on stage.
Oh, my God. Well, they have triple D cups filled with bingo chips.
Yeah, they have an extra measurement for length at that point.
And throwing giant girls. They're actually knocking Tom out with their...
It's just a titanium hip.
Their pea pants and their pads.
It's your catheter. Here, take it back, lady.
Someone just crowd surf on their hover round kills like 9 geriatrics. By the way, if you are not, Mug Club is now Rumble Premium. Rumble Premium is Mug Club. Click that button below. Just click it right there to join Rumble Premium. $99 annually or $9.99 a month. That's why we're able to do what we do. We migrated from YouTube a long time ago. More people are following suit.
Yep.
We welcome you. The water is warm. And if not, download the app. It's the best way to stay in touch. Rumble owns live. You only get notifications when we're live. Just download the app. You never have to worry about algorithms disconnecting us again. Okay. Let's move on before we get to the lawsuit that's a major deal with Brazil, both from Rumble and the Trump, a company under President Trump. we're having lawfare right now in the United States. And we knew that this was going to happen. But I want to sort of go through some myths and facts with you. And all the references, links are available in the description. So let's set the stage here. Last night, I believe, Donald Trump instructed the Justice Department to terminate all of the remaining Biden-era U.S. attorneys. He posted this on Truth. By the way, he's going to be on the show later today to debate one of these judges.
Right.
We're going to have President Trump and Judge, I forget the name.
Yeah, we'll get him.
So President Trump posted this on Truth. He said, "Over the past 4 years, the Department of Justice has been politicized like never before. Never before. Therefore, I have instructed the termination of all remaining Biden era. It's hard for me to read my own truths. Do I sound like that? I don't sound like that. All Biden era U.S. attorneys, we must clean house immediately. Like the lady Arnold slept with, restore confidence. America's golden age must have a fair justice system that begins today." And this all seems very reasonable. And we'll get into the history here and why this is something that has been done many, many times before. There's nothing unique about it. But of course, the media had a conniption fit.
Donald Trump is promising retribution at the Department of Justice.
Hey, a point guard.
Retribution. In a post on his social media just a short time ago, he
certainly
said he
not a tight end.
Termination of all remaining Biden-era U.S. attorneys in an effort to, quote, clean house. And Donald Trump now saying he's going to clear out all of these prosecutors simply because they were Biden appointees. This feels like he wants very desperately to corrupt the Department of Justice.
Please tell me that's chemo.
It feels like. It feels like. Does it feel like? Yeah, but hold on a second. What is it? Let's get rid of the phrase. Can we just put a moratorium on I feel like or it feels? How about I think or it is?
Oh, they won't have anything to say over there.
No,
It'll be a silent film if it has to do with logic. And
can you guys just comment? Anytime, please, let's the eliminate I feel movement when making arguments. No more I feel, it feels like, I think, or it is. Let's start using those phrases. You know why people don't want to use those phrases? Because it puts them in the hot seat. One is this sort of nebulous hyperbole, maybe. The other is you're laying claim to it. Saying, no, I think X. This is Y. Let's start doing that. So in reality, this whining has been going on since the day President Trump was inaugurated.
Allow me to suggest that they are not in touch with how real people really do feel about what really is just a lawless blitzkrieg.
They're calling this a constitutional crisis.
We're headed toward a constitutional
crisis.
He means
to fight back against the lawless actions of the Trump administration.
I think we're on the verge of moving from a decayed system into a crisis.
He signed over 200 executive actions, totally setting into place a process to dismantle the federal government.
As well as for making Donald Trump the true tyrant of our country.
Yes, when I think tyrants, I think people who dismantle and downsize the government. It's unreal. And they try to both sides it. Okay, sure, in the sense that both sides have taken these actions or executive orders, but when the left is in power, there's nothing. I wish I loved anything as much as they love raping the Constitution. Both sides have tried to make this argument, but please tell me you recognize the difference. One side uses executive orders to usurp the law, to pervert the law, and one side right now, President Trump, this administration, they use the executive orders to enforce the laws that exist. And let's look at those executive orders and say, which ones are more in line with the Constitution? Someone who uses an executive order with some arbitrary pistol brace rule to try and get rid of guns that are a part of your God-given right to self-preservation, or someone who uses an executive order to ensure that those laws are not warped, that your rights are not infringed upon. Someone who uses an executive order to take your tax dollars and give them to people who are not even residents of this country, or someone who uses an executive order to say, no, taxpayers aren't going to foot the bill for the world. That's not the job of government. Which one is a perversion of the Constitution? I know you can comment below. Law is a practice. It's not an exact science. President Trump, I think, not I feel, has a very, very strong case. For those of you who aren't aware, the executive authority, it comes from two places: Constitution, Article 2, and Congress. Let's get into some key facts here. First off, if you are upset about the executive orders or the amount of them, you have one person to thank, Barack Obama. He was the president who escalated this, who set the trend of relying on these EOs to circumvent Congress. Everyone has done it, but he was arguably the first president to do it and abuse it in a way that affected or created major policies and would actually circumvent existing laws.
We are not just going to be waiting for legislation in order to make sure that we're providing Americans the kind of help that they need. I've got a pen and I've got a phone. And I can use that pen to sign executive orders and take executive actions and administrative actions that move the ball forward.
Also, now, why do I have a school shooter over my left shoulder? That's kind of weird. You're about to open fire. Am I right? Security. I'm getting all wee-weed up. I've already said that. Yeah. Don't get all wee-weed up.
I got a pen, I got a phone, and a defensive back for a wife.
Linebacker, who
you may not know this about my wife. She was actually one of the Purple People Eaters.
She's an all-pro.
And I'm not talking about her gums.
This brings us, for those of you who don't remember, to the latest installment of Then and Now.
I thought she was a Packer.
Oh.
Can't they both be?
Guys, the fight's out there. All right, let's go to immigration. Okay, this brings us to then. Barack Obama used his executive orders to get around existing immigration laws. Do you remember this? He gave de facto amnesty to DACA recipients. Right, you're talking about Dreamers, remember anchor babies, all this. This was unprecedented. People were really upset back then. If you're too young to remember it, just check the link in the description. He actually did that. That brings us to now. President Trump has used his executive orders to enforce immigration laws, like deporting illegal aliens, like defending the border. So let me ask you this. Which executive order is more arguably defensive constitutionally? Out of thin air, giving amnesty to people who would not have been given amnesty before, which, by the way, puts taxpayers on the hook, or an executive order saying, actually, hold on a second, you really do have to enforce the laws that we have had for decades and centuries. You can't just not enforce the law. You can comment below. Gun control. Okay, gun control. Let's go back to then Barack Obama used his executive order to expand gun control in 2016. Unilaterally expanded background checks. By the way, background checks already existed. This was a Trojan horse. Anyone who's purchased a firearm legally knows this. I'm not talking about your Saturday night specials. This brings us to now. President Trump used an executive order to protect the Second Amendment from unelected bureaucrats, activists, things like arbitrary rules, like the pistol brace rule, arbitrary rules, like this grip is not okay, but this grip is okay. You know, just a simple way to infringe on your Second Amendment rights. Which one do you think is more defensible? Not what do you feel, what do you think? Let's go to some other key facts here. Plenty of people have ignored the courts historically when the left tries to screech about this. In case you don't remember, let's go back to then. Good tool, man. I'm making sure you're on your toes. Former Vice President Biden in 2023 completely disregarded the Supreme Court declaring student loan relief. Well, they said it was unconstitutional. He said, yeah, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to do it anyway. How do we know? Because he said so.
Supreme Court blocked me from relieving student debt, but they didn't stop me. So far, I've relieved student debt for nearly 5 million Americans. A significant number are black borrowers.
I don't give a trying to keep it relatively clean. Yeah. First off, think of that phrase. I gave a student loan forgiveness. Really? What? You write a check from your personal bank account? What you mean is you stole from other people. And by the way, one of the greatest wealth transfers in history, because the beneficiaries of these student loans were largely upper middle class Americans getting useless degrees that they couldn't pay off. But Biden wants you to think he did that personally. That's another key difference. They will take credit for doing something. By that, they mean using taxpayer dollars. When President Trump takes credit, he's taking credit right now for cutting waste with, by the way, an actual team of people who have historically been outside of the government and the left bitches about. So when Donald Trump or Elon Musk says, we did that, they actually did. They didn't just steal your money. Which brings us to another example of then, come on. Former Vice President Biden, respect the office, in 2021, completely disregarded the Supreme Court on the eviction moratoriums as well. How do we know this? Why do I think this? Well, actually, I don't even think this. It is because he said it.
The bulk of the constitutional scholarship says that it's not likely to pass constitutional.
That's a little sad.
But at a minimum,
oh no,
by the time it gets litigated, it will probably give some additional time while we're getting that $45 billion out to people who are, in fact, behind in the rent and don't have the money.
So he basically just told you how he was going to effectively break the law, how he was going to violate our constitutional rights. And here's the other issue. I've said this many times. When you virtue signal, when you create this currency through fake victimhood, they're actually real victims. Now, the primary people who benefited from those types of policies were giant multi-billion or trillion-dollar corporations like BlackRock and Vanguard who buy up properties, all these single-family home units. People who were hurt were mom-and-pop home providers. You can say landlord, I'll say home provider because they are providing you with a home. They weren't exempt from making their payments, but the deadbeat didn't have to pay rent because Biden wanted to buy some votes. Hope you like skyrocketing rent and real estate costs because guess what? In that period of time, you saw a wealth transfer of trillions of dollars go to the wealthiest 20 people on earth. They bought up all the properties. Think that helped real estate? And if you don't remember this goes back to then, and Nick, I know you're going to love this one. People like AOC encouraged former Vice President Biden to blatantly ignore the courts.
I believe that the Biden administration should ignore this ruling. I think that the courts have the legitimacy and they rely on the legitimacy of their rulings. And what they are currently doing is engaged in an unprecedented and dramatic erosion of the legitimacy of the courts.
It is completely precedented and you can't spell erosion. Hey, look, on CNN, they brought back super straight Brian Stelter.
Support from dozens of other news outlets.
Oh, yes.
So basically, the idea is trying to get the Trump White House to come to the table, have some sort of conversation, try to get things back to normal. But let's be clear. Right? The Trump White House wants this fight. Trump wants this. You could hear it in his voice yesterday.
They're so obsessed with bringing things back to normal. Well, does normal include you? That we could use a little crazy.
I know. I take credit for these people losing weight.
Trump to define the terms of the relationship with the press. And I suspect, Pamela, we're going to be talking about this for some time to come because it's not going to end with the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah, you'll be there talking about it because you have dirt on those people. I don't know what it is, but that is the luckiest man in show. He has no talent. He has no charisma. He's unattractive, he's inarticulate, and he's a closeted homosexual. How is that man brought back on air?
Allegedly.
You just mention every characteristic you have to have
yes, exactly.
to be, part of the mainstream media.
By the way, AP, and we're going to go back to this segment, and I guess we'll have to cut this out for bits because this is an aside. AP, your job, by the way, there's the AP handbook that they give in journalism school. Mm-hmm. Your job is to report the news. The president named it the Gulf of America. You don't need to say anything more. Instead, you've decided that you won't. Whether it's popular or not, whether you like it or not, you are no longer news. By the way, it is not a violation of the freedom of the press for them to not invite you into the Oval Office or on Air Force One. You can print whatever you want. But your bias is showing. Whenever they say this is a violation of the First Amendment, really? Where are you on big tech? Where have you been this entire time? Where were you on the Hunter Biden laptop? It's not the only example, but it's a very clear one. Where were you on Russiagate? Where were you on Journalist, going back to Barack Obama? Remember, that included Dave Weigel and people at MSNBC. Where were you? Oh, now it's a First Amendment issue because you refuse to report the news and you are no longer being invited into his private plane and office. Get out of here.
Wasn't Fox kicked out under Obama?
Yeah, I believe from the actual press briefing room.
There's a barred from the premises almost.
Yes. And of course, people at Fox and people at conservative nonprofits were targeted by the IRS.
Yeah.
I would say that's worse than saying,
maybe.
You won't say Gulf of America, then you can't get on my private plane. Oh,
the horror.
Say it. Gosh, everything is a civil rights violation to these people. So we just gave you those examples of Biden and AOC saying completely disregard the courts. That brings us to now. President Trump said that he would flat out respect the courts.
If a judge does block one of your policies, part of your agenda, will you abide by that ruling? Will you comply?
Well, I always abide by the courts, and then I'll have to appeal it. But then what he's done is he slowed down the momentum, and it gives crooked people more time to cover up the books. You know, if a person's crooked and they get caught, other people see that, and all of a sudden it becomes harder later on. So, yeah, the answer is I always abide by the courts, always abide by them, and will appeal.
There you go.
Pretty clear contrast from, but it's going to take him 6 months before they can catch me.
He sucks at being a dictator.
He's really bad.
That is one area, look, he needs to brush up, because if he's going to be a dictator, you got to get better at it.
Yeah. Don't you remember the Fuhrer? He first came out and said, there will be the right to bear arms in every household, and I will respect the courts.
And the Jews can walk down the street freely?
That's right. And don't forget, stop Asian hate.
Don't see a lot of Asians, but still.
Also, my guy with the intelligence, he's a Pecky. And it's okay because I know Patel wouldn't be mad at me misreferring to him as a Packy. I know he's not a Packy. It's racist Hitler. This has been Then and Now. All right. Let's go on to some key facts here. Again, all the references are available on every single show. Take notes, Johnny. Third key fact here. The authority of these lower federal courts that are blocking Trump, I would say it's BS, but at best, it's questionable. Let me put a finer point on this. There are about 900 federal judges in America. Okay. So let's just look at this logically. Do you think that the founding fathers, do you think that their intent was for someone to be able to shop around for one of the 900 judges to completely obstruct the president? Do you think the intent of the founding fathers, when we're talking about the three branches of government, we're talking about the separation of powers, was that one of 900 judges should have more power than the president? Is that what you believe the design is meant to be? Please comment below. I would love to hear an argument if that's the case. Most recent example of an injunction was on President Trump's funding freeze, which again, this is, in my opinion, completely defensible. It's not increasing. It's not creating an entire new government department. It's not charging taxpayers more. It's saying, hey, we're going to freeze this until we know where the money is going. I can't think of a more legitimate use of an executive order, aside from maybe opening up energy leases here in our own country. This injunction was issued by Rhode Island District Court Judge. I want to make sure I get his name right because I don't like him. John J. McConnell Jr., who, let me tell you a little bit about this guy, 1 out of 900. They found the guy, member of the Southern Poverty Law Center, board member of Planned Parenthood.
Must really hate black people.
He's, of course, an anti-Trumper. He's a radical progressive who called Donald Trump a tyrant, and he said that racism is a white people problem. So all of these things, that you hear and make you say, I don't like that guy. But let's LeVar Burton this. You don't have to take my word for it. The 1 out of 900 judges who believes he has more power than the President of the United States has told you who he is in his own, if effeminate, words.
Where courts stand and enforce the rule of law, that is against arbitrary and capricious actions by what could be a tyrant or could be whatnot. We saw plenty of examples of that recently. In many ways, racism is a white people's problem, and white people need to figure out how to solve it. And we all have racism, obviously. And make no mistake about it, race is present every single day in the courtroom. It's not shocking that President Obama had a great track record of ensuring diversity, racial diversity amongst the bench. President Trump, not so much. This, middle-class white male privileged person needs to understand the human being that comes before us, that may be a woman and may be black, may be transgender.
People I don't like. Now, I mean, if it's a female black transgender, if she hits, that's the trifecta.
It really is. Yeah.
Someone get a body language expert on this guy.
Pretty obvious.
Well, I think, he's about to start singing "Clang Clang Clang" with the trolley. This is the guy. Thunder. You think he's supposed to have more authority than the president? Let me ask you. Hey, I don't know where you live in this country right now. If you're watching, you vote for that guy? Did you vote? It's that simple. Did you vote for that guy? Why should he have more power than the president? And they want to tell you that he's a threat to democracy. Come on. Anyway, I do appreciate that, unlike John Oliver, the coward, he is willing, this judge, to stand in the pocket and stand by his convictions and fight. So we actually, if we have them on the line now, we actually do have President Donald Trump and the judge to debate this very issue.
Wrong.
So look, the problem here is, and thank you for having me, this judge thinks she can tell me what to do.
I am the law.
No, you're not. You are not the law. I enforce the laws.
You betrayed the law.
Shut up, Dredd.
Hey, it's a Judge Dredd to you.
Oh, it's Judge Dredd. That's right. That's what you say. But that's not what, frankly, a lot of people say. It's not what I heard. I heard they call you Limp Dick Dredd.
Who said that? You're lying to me.
Your wife said it. Your wife.
No, you don't even know my wife.
Your wife said it to me last night.
You don't even know her.
In the shack.
No, don't say. You're gone too far.
That's right. I go too far. I went all the way with your wife.
Don't push it, Donnie. I'm getting real tired.
She needs the warmth of a real man.
I give her lots of warmth. I got lots of blankets.
You don't give her warmth with that helmet. It's cold.
We got a good gas heating in our house.
No, I don't think you do. I think there's a leak.
No,
and there's a shortage of HVAC. That's why my next year will help people in the trades.
How did you know that? Did you talk to my landlord?
Wait a second. I'm sorry. Look, I appreciate, but I have to go. I'm getting a call from your wife.
No!
Wrong.
Yeah, he had the balls to come on the show.
Yes, he did.
I really do appreciate that about him. So, yeah, that's a good thing. By the way, on the judges, you're telling me that 900 people basically control the president? It's not just shopping for one judge. It's basically saying you have to appeal to the lowest common denominator of 900 people. They run the country?
Yep.
That's insane.
It really is insane.
Especially when it's pretty clear the president has the authority.
Yeah. Also, when you understand that a lot of these judges, and certainly, I mean, I won't get into detail, but you have judges on your local circuit who, these are the people who are most concerned with optics and the least likely to do the right thing.
Yeah.
They're up for re-election. It's determined by only a handful of votes. They don't want to rock the boat. It's very different from the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
That's why we have lifetime appointments in the Supreme Court. You want to understand how broken our justice system is? Go look into your local judge. You might be surprised, even if you're in a red district. They often are not representative of their constituency at all. Here's another bonus factoid here. Not only is this precedented, not only will this likely be held up, I hope, these actions are good political strategy. I think President Trump, he needs to keep his foot on the gas here, let the checks and balances act as they may. Congress can do their job, pass laws.
Right.
And he can continue with this because you're seeing the American public say, oh, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I get, well, wait, how much waste? So that is an end goal in and of itself, is simply raising awareness. We've always known that government has been corrupt, and we're saying the same thing as CNN. He wants to dismantle the federal government. We're all here saying he wants to dismantle the federal government. Woohoo! Yeah. For like a good example is ending this birthright citizenship, I should say interpretation. Right? Because it's been interpreted as children of illegal aliens. If the court blocks President Trump's executive order on this, Congress can pass a law that can clarify the 14th Amendment does not at all extend citizenship to children of illegal aliens, and they can do so citing the drafter of the 14th Amendment themselves. And if you want to know more about this, birthright citizenship, you can go to anywhere audio podcasts exist. We have the 3 and 3 installments, 3 minutes or less. 3 key facts that you need to know. All the references are publicly listed. We have gun control. We have mass shootings. We have abortion. I believe we have Reconstruction. We have George Washington. One of them is on birthright citizenship. It's really simple. Don't be caught flat-footed with that. And where we are right now at this point is we're at the point of executive orders being used to a degree that they often haven't historically because of Barack Obama. The primary difference is one side uses executive orders to abuse the Constitution, to create new forms of government. And right now we are witnessing, for the first time in our lives, one president used executive orders to scale back government to its originally intended size. You tell me which one is the tyrant.
Just the fact that your taxpayer money went to Hamas.
Yes.
That should be enough.
It should
for
be enough.
Everybody.
Yes.
No matter what side of the island politically.
Yeah.
You should be, this guy's doing God's. I mean, how much more fucking proof do you need? I mean, he's doing the right thing.
I think not one unminted penny to Hamas. We're doing away with pennies, too.
Yeah, we should have done away with them like 40 years ago, but fine.
Well, give them the pennies.
Yes, exactly.
Let them count 40 billion in pennies. They're still using a fucking abacus.
Yeah, they claim they invented it.
Is that what it is?
That's what it is. They claim they invented the modern numerical system. It's the Greeks.
It is.
Basically, these people, and by people I mean low-life leftists, have fought the law as they see it, and I think the law has won.
Don't you ever let anybody take your power.
From their hands. They fight the law cause the Don won. They break the law cause their time's done. They block the law with retardation. They fight the law cause
We can say retard again.
I never stopped.
Yes. I never stopped either. But I think it's allowed on YouTube. I don't know. I don't care. How many times have you had to hit the dump button today? I don't care. By the way, go to puretalk.com/Crowder. They are the sponsor of today's show. I will tell you this. I switched to them. I'll just say it. I have better service and a much better price than Verizon. And I'm not giving money to people who hate me. You actually get a $0 iPhone or Samsung Galaxy when you sign up. Starting at $45 a month. It's a better plan.
They have an American-based call center. I didn't know that was possible anymore, but I guess it's still possible.
Really?
Yeah,
Somebody
they do.
else
You call, you get someone on the phone.
Do that?
You're kidding me.
Yes.
Don't
no
make
translator needed?
None.
No. Yeah.
Don't make the mistake that I made where I was transferring my old phone to a new phone and I was calling the call center from said phone.
Yeah, and they're like, all right, we're about to...
Yeah, I heard you say
Like, all right, we're about to delete your SIM number. I'm like, yeah, but if that happens, click.
That sounded like me.
I have to go on my computer and text them like, hey, anyone have a spare phone so I can call to transfer my phone? That's not their fault. I'm funny. A moron. puretalk.com/Crowder. And where are you going to be this weekend, Nick?
Thursday night, I'm going to be at the Bricktown Comedy Club in Tulsa. And this Friday night, the next night, St. Louis Funny Bone.
That's going to be fun.
Nice.
Bricktown's a lot. I did that not too long ago.
I've never been there.
I had a fever of 104 when I got off stage. I remember throwing my shirt off in the green room before the set, and it went slop. And I was like, I guess I worked up a sweat.
Why, was it hot in there?
No, I was sick. I was stuck in Oklahoma for 3 days.
I hope they washed the microphone.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I like to. It's like a cast iron skillet. You season it. That's the trick.
Was the club good?
Yeah, it's great.
Nice club?
Yeah, really good people there. Really a lot of fun. I like Oklahoma. Good people. They are the only state that have gotten it right. I believe no blue districts in the entire state of Oklahoma, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I got in trouble the last time I was in Tulsa. This was a long time ago on morning radio.
Oh. Wow.
They go, I was talking about, is it Oral Roberts University's in Tulsa, right?
Is it?
The giant praying hands?
Yeah, I
the
think
statue out front?
Yeah.
They have praying hands
Nation
that like
of Islam. Sorry. Yeah.
They're about 80. No. Wait.
It's Oral Roberts. Yeah.
Okay, let me get through this bit.
I think it's Oklahoma, but the point remains.
Yeah, giant praying hands.
Yes.
And I was on morning radio, and I said they should put a dick in one of the hands, let people know what they're doing when they're in Tulsa for a week.
Oh.
And boy, did those phones light up. For the wrong reason.
Oh my gosh, I don't envy having. Remember back, you had to do those morning circuits where you get up and you're like, there's 4 people watching and not a single one of them is going to enjoy the show.
And I had an incident in the audience. A husband and wife were yapping or whatever. I said, tell your wife to shut up. And he goes, it's my sister. I go, Tulsa. What the fuck's the difference?
Nice.
And all of a sudden, he gets up and the wife gets up. They try to get on stage, both of them.
Oh, no.
And luckily, there were 2 doormen that tackled them. I'm standing up there like a little pussy. Yeah, go ahead, choke him out. But it was a good zing, you know?
Yeah. Well,
Nice
at least they had their siblings/spouses back.
It's right.
Let's get to, I don't know if we have the guests on, but we're going to have guests on in a little bit. Hopefully they're waiting in the wings here, Paulo Figueiredo and Allan DeSantos. So this is big news this morning. Rumble and Trump Media and Technology Group, TMTG, they jointly sued the Brazilian Supreme Court Justice Alexandre de Moraes. De Moraes is what we've called him. We're not on a first name basis.
We aren't.
In a Florida federal court. Now, quick note here. This lawsuit came mere hours after Moraes received the indictment of the former president, Bolsonaro, meaning prosecutors brought an indictment against the former president, friend of Trump, more conservative, pro-liberty, right? This judge now holds in his hands indicting the former president as he runs interference for a Marxist, arguably dictator right now in Brazil. That's the temperature. Let me give you the why on this specific case and what it means for everyone here. And please, by the way, go out and support your Brazilian brothers and sisters, because there are a lot of them who I guarantee you would love to be stateside here in America because they see the writing on the wall and they're in a fight for the very fiber of their country. Moraes issued an order that would ban basically some U.S.-based creators, Brazilians in America, from creating content. This arguably, right now, I don't know that it's been named, but is specifically designed to try and silence Allan Santos, who will be on the show in a little bit. So basically, you have a rogue judge in Brazil saying, hey, we want the American government, or it's so complicated, but here's what they want. They want to get rid of Brazilians who are in the United States, not even in Brazil anymore, from creating content. They want to ban Brazilians from seeing the content of Brazilians who are here in America. And they need the personal information of said creators to do that. Think of how scary that is. They're basically trying to extradite these people digitally for the crime of speech. Does that make it clear?
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
I'm very ignorant on this subject. Does it matter whether these Brazilians in the United States are citizens now, naturalized? It's got nothing to do with that.
Well, they might try and make the case, but it shouldn't, because they're basically asking the United States, they're basically trying to violate our law.
Right.
Here.
Silence,
Yeah. In other words, if you're a citizen or not here, the United States doesn't just ban you for speech, and certainly doesn't hand your information over to a tyrannical government. And if you know what this government wants to do to these, by the way, journalists, it's terrifying. So Rumble and President Trump want to have the court declare this order from Moraes unenforceable in the United States. So think about this for a second. What this decision means, it will set the precedent for companies like Google and YouTube, or Meta, Facebook, X, right? It's like, will you side with the United States, our constitutionally protected rights, or not even a foreign government, a foreign rogue judge? You want to talk about foreign interference? Telling America how we moderate speech. Does it get any more clear than that? That's what this lawsuit is about. For people who don't remember, Brazil banned Rumble flat out, 2023. They banned it. I know you think they can do that because if you're American. Yes, other governments can do that. They can simply ban entire platforms if they don't like what is being said there.
Yeah.
What happened last week is Rumble was then restored after Brazil rescinded the censorship order. And an important contrast, too, here, by the way, and this is not me patting myself on the back, but Chris and the people at Rumble, there's a reason that we signed a contract with Rumble. There's a reason that we teamed up with Rumble. X, Elon Musk, doing a lot of great work. Yeah. Certainly Doge, huge fan of it. But X did back down. They did kneel before Brazil and demands, and they did censor content creators.
After saying they wouldn't.
They said they wouldn't.
Fighting for a little bit, then they did. Rumble never did.
Yeah.
In the entire process.
And X did it quietly.
Yes.
They went out and said, we will. If this is a free speech platform, all right, let's ban them. Let's get rid of them. Rumble's the only one that has been in the thick of it this entire time. And in case you guys don't understand just how evil, I would argue, this judge has been, let's go through his history of censorship, right? Moraes. He ordered a retraction of a magazine article that was exposing corruption in the Brazilian Supreme Court. He tried to ban Telegram completely in Brazil, the app, encrypted app where people communicate. And I would imagine that's probably where they criticize the government and Supreme Court of Brazil. Mm-hmm. And of course, he tried to force Rumble to remove accounts completely. And when they didn't remove accounts, they banned Rumble outright. This is a man who, by the way, in Brazil, they have more power than here in the United States, these Supreme Court justices, who wants to have complete control over what the public see and hear. And now he's extending it to trying to tell us in the United States what kind of laws we will enforce or create. It would basically require new laws to do this and to sell out these American-loving Brazilians who are pointing out corruption in the government. And by the way, some Brazilians, some Brazilians support these people, just like here in the United States. They support the censorship, like Ted Lieu right now, who's on CNN. You have people here who are willing participants. Basically, what we are seeing here is some Brazilians in America are saying bad things about the Brazilian government, so the Brazilian government is attempting to ban them, not just in Brazil, but in America as well. So here to discuss are Brazilians in America saying bad things about the Brazilian government, Allan dos Santos and Paulo Figueiredo. And for those out there, please do follow these gentlemen, support them. Paulo Figueiredo is at Real P Figueiredo on X. Allan dos Santos is Allan L. dos Santos on X. Gentlemen, are you both there? Can you see me, hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
I can hear both of you, and both of you look far more polished than I do right now. I don't know what kind of backlighting you have, but you look like a biracial angel. Now, let me ask you guys, is there anything that I've missed, and how scary is this for you right now?
Well, I guess it's pretty scary. I was indicted with President Bolsonaro yesterday, also part of the Disney World coup d'etat. So it's pretty scary. The only reason why Allan and I are not in a prison is because we're in the United States. So I've been living here for 11 years now, and Allan has been here under political asylum as well. So it's very scary, and I think it should be scary for everyone in the world because it's part of a global trend. And what Moraes has done in Brazil was done in a little different manner in the United States, but it's the same theory behind it. Through big techs, through people in the deep state government calling people from Meta and screaming at them to remove content. In Brazil, things were more blunt. Moraes just gave orders and threatened to send people to prison. But it's the same trend, and this is part of what J.D. Vance was talking about last week on his speech in Europe. It was a global trend, and the worst part of it, and I say that because the United States is my country too, is because it was all funded by the United States. Moraes was fully funded by USAID, and we're getting more and more proofs of that. And it was part of the United States policy, foreign policy, to export this censorship that they implemented successfully here in the United States and led to the Joe Biden becoming the president in 2020. Yeah. So Moraes is a product of that United States foreign policy. He was empowered by that. And so I think we're here in the United States, and we're happy that this is happening, that the country is turning into the right direction. But the rest of the world is still feeling the results of this disastrous foreign policy that the Biden administration implemented during 4 years. Yeah. And that's very sad.
Well, and I know we had both of you here, and we obviously have had these Ash Wednesdays and had you on quite a few times. Allan, I wanted to ask you, was this a surprise to you? Did you guys kind of think, okay, at least I'm safe, if I get out of that jurisdiction and maybe get stateside, and they're coming for you in this country now too?
Yeah, for me, it's a pretty good thing that Moraes is being accountable. Why? Because I was talking to some friends of mine that were celebrating everything that Doge and Trump are doing right now, but somehow we have seen this movie in Brazil, like unmasking the corruption, showing who was corrupted and so forth, but they never have been held accountable.
Right.
So the next step is very important. So to see what's going on in the United States right now, it's pretty good, but I want to see every criminal here holding accountable. Right. Because that's what happened in Brazil. We exposed them. We exposed them in Lava Jato scheme. We exposed them in Mensalão, Petrolão. We have a lot of scandals involving the Supreme Court, involving the Workers' Party, involving all the communists down there. Because we exposed them, they found a way to censor us wherever we would be live streaming. Yeah. And this is very important to say that when you mentioned before, they have more power there than here in the United States. I was listening carefully when you said that, because for a few. That was a tiny piece that did not make the Democrat pack the Supreme Court in the United States.
Right.
So that would happen here in the United States too. And if Trump wouldn't win the election, if people did not understand correctly that we need Trump as a president, we would be facing right now the Democrat not complaining about Elon Musk, but arresting Elon Musk, arresting everyone, and put everyone in prison, and also pack the Supreme Court, because that's what happened in Brazil.
I can imagine.
So to see Moraes holding accountable here for violating U.S. laws, it's pretty good.
I do hope that is what transpires. Also, just on a sort of a side note, do you guys find it gut-bustingly sort of urinate yourself hilarious that AP is claiming a violation of the First Amendment, their rights here, because they're not personally being invited on Air Force One, considering you guys are being fitted for an orange jumpsuit?
I think they should go to Brazil. I think they should go to Brazil and try talking, bad-mouthing Alexandre de Moraes. I think that's what they should do. I think they would get the VIP treatment. They would get Uber Black, bringing them from airport to a very nice hotel with free meals. And free clothing as well. So I think they should try that.
That's one way to look at it. You're ever the optimist looking out for the other guy. This is where let me ask you this, actually, because in the United States, we know that the media is corrupt. And we obviously see this not only with you said, but this goes back to Barack Obama and journalist. You obviously are journalists. But I want to ask you, beyond the government, what has the tone been with other Brazilian journalists? Is it like here where they lean far left all the time and so you guys are kind of the two odd men out? Or do they see the writing on the wall and are they concerned about their freedom as journalists? Have they defended you or have they sort of distanced themselves?
Some of them have been
journalists for a long time. The Brazil mainstream media is just as dead as it is the mainstream media in the United States. I think it's even worse there. They don't care for free speech anymore. It used to be a consensus in the Western world until 5 years ago that you should not silence dissidents and different political opinions. But right now in Brazil, I'd say 90%, 95% of the mainstream media actually applauded what happened to Allan and what happened to me.
Yeah.
Like I said, remember, I had the number one political show on TV in the country until 2022. Mm-hmm. They shut me down. And instead of actually saying, well, this is dangerous, 99% of the journalists said, well, he's not really a journalist. He's they call me, and Allan's the same thing. They call him a blogger, a YouTuber, a social media influencer. And the funny thing is that I actually went to journalism school. Most of them didn't. And I was on mainstream media TV. I've written for U.S. papers, Brazilian papers, and they still call me. And now even the federal police of my country, they refuse to call me journalist. They call me entrepreneur, which I am as well.
Sure.
It's true. I'm an economist. Yes, I am an economist as well. But mainly my profession is journalist. It's like, I don't know what your master's or your bachelor's degree says. If you're reporting news and commenting on it, you're a journalist. That's the definition.
You're a podcaster.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they go podcast. That's what they always do too.
That's what I am.
Yeah. There is a point that's very interesting that you make. Like, if someone was kind of defending us. When I was using Terça Livre, my company in Brazil, when I was operating in Brazil, my channel was the bright bar of Brazil. Like imagine bright bar in this prime time.
Yeah.
In the prime time in the beginning. So everyone that started broadcasting in Brazil and getting successful, they passed through Terça Livre before. So all of them started in there. And
including
Paulo, including Paulo. So when Paulo was on mainstream media defending me, he got punished.
Right.
Yeah. They delivered this message. If you go defending all the people that I'm going after, you're gonna be persecuted too. Luis Lacombe, who is here with me, he is now we are in a Timeline magazine. It's a new project that we have here in the United States. He was in the biggest TV broadcast in Brazil, global. It's very famous. He was a journalist in there for more than 20 years. He has more than 30 years of experience doing journalism. He was doing sports and so forth. And then he got a show, like a entertainment show for morning show in Brazil. And he invited me to go there. I'm talking about TV, not YouTube, TV, not internet. He got fired at the end of the show just because he invited me.
Wow.
Yeah. It doesn't, I mean, yes, it's terrible, but it doesn't surprise me. Again, as someone who's, been in media really since I was a teenager, and I've spoken about it with Nick too. It's unfortunately been the same thing in the comedy side a lot. It's not all the comedians, but it's a lot of bookers. It's a lot of producers, like you mentioned with HBO. And what's the first thing they do is say, oh, this person's not funny. This person's not a comedian. Or, oh, this person's not a journalist. Well, hold on a second. Are they reporting news? Are they exposing corruption? Are they breaking news? They're a journalist. Well, hold on a second. Are people paying to go see that person, make them laugh? They're a comedian. You may not like it, but they just go through this whole sequence of denying, and then eventually discrediting. I think Gerald has a question, and we're going to continue, of course, for those who aren't members on Rumble Premium, which allows us to do all of this. Gerald.
Yeah. So Paulo and Allan, I'll ask you to answer the same question after he does. But Paulo, if you can just go ahead.